the scenario that Grace just walked you through, it's not all fiction. And like Professor Hansen just said, that it happens all the time, all across the world, across companies. It happens every day. It even happens at Nike. A few years ago, the Wall Street Journal reported that after a round of out-of-town meetings, a bus carrying a few dozen Nike employees, at the end of the day, it stopped in front of a strip club. And there were just four people who did not enter the strip club. The only three women in that group of people and one man. And I mean, I don't know about you, but as a woman, as a potential member of the workforce, that makes me really uncomfortable. And I'm all for employee bonding and after work, I don't know, enjoyment, but this isn't my ideal, this isn't the ideal situation I have in mind.
So let's get into this now with some extra visuals, right? You'll notice that a lot of what was happening when Amviti was speaking was all on the same slide. Maybe there are ways that we can add a few more visuals to add to the overall engagement of what she's saying.
A bus carrying a few dozen Nike employees. At the end of the day, it stopped in front of a strip club. And there were just four people who did not enter the strip club. The only three women in that group of people and one man. And I mean, I don't know about you, but as a woman, as a potential member of the workforce, that makes me really uncomfortable. And I'm all for employee bonding and after work.
All right, so now I want to show another example. This time I'm going to show Nicole's piece, which I also really enjoyed. I think Nicole did a really good job of showing lots of different engagement strategies. Take a look for yourself.
Well, according to what Claire has mentioned, WeWork now is having a very problematic relationship with its customers. So it is really important and urgent for WeWork to fix this problem. More specifically, WeWork should better engage its small businesses and enterprise clients with the reason provided in this slide. So how are these customers affected by coronavirus? Let's take a look at some data in the next slide. So it basically shows the percentage of people working at home during different periods of times. How does this increase happen? Let me ask someone a few questions. So, Chloe, suppose you are an employee and you live a little bit far away from your office. And now due to the coronavirus, you are required to work remotely at your home. So you don't need to travel a long way from your home to your office. I'm wondering if you are happy with this situation.
Yes, I would be.
So this is basically the reason why remote working is increasingly popular. As a result, small businesses and enterprise clients will choose to continue the mode of remote working instead of renting offices in WeWork, which might cause a huge loss to this company.
All right, so I want to give you some ideas of what might add to this already great sort of setup of the presentation, right? So I'm going to use a couple more visuals and I'm going to try to like bring this all together. So I'm going to just present, in this case, I'm going to present it myself. Okay, so Claire just mentioned that we have to engage with our customers, but which customers? So we're going to talk today about small businesses and enterprise clients. And why them? Because we consider these clients to be dangerous. They're the most affected by the coronavirus. And honestly, they may stop using WeWork post-COVID. So the two reasons on the screen right now really give you a good sense of why we're choosing these particular clients. So you'll notice, obviously, before the pandemic, we had about 4% of people working from home. And during the pandemic, we're at 62%, which is a huge, huge number. And it's projected in 2022 that actually we're going to move from 4 to 30% working from home. So people are going to continue along this trend. Let me actually ask someone in the audience. So Chloe, question for you. All right, so you get up in the morning, so pretend it's pre-pandemic, right? You're going to get up in the morning and it's like really early. You got to wake up, you got to get dressed and ready to go to work. You gotta like go through this awful commute. It's gonna take you about an hour each way to get to work, and you're gonna have to do the whole thing in reverse when you come home. So I guess my question for you is, would you rather do that, or would you rather actually have the work from home experience where you can wear your jeans or your sweatpants and be comfortable? I guess which of these two would you choose? So the question to Chloe was actually a grabber, right? And it was a great question. But Chloe's answer, while that was fine, is not actually the support that we need for Nicole to make her point. We then need something to prove that in a little bit more detail with many, many more customers just to make that point go home. And then we can end with this really great slide where, again, Nicole shows like a really big number. And again, she's trying to grab your attention. My comment to Nicole, especially, but this is not just to Nicole, is that we've got a bunch of stuff at the bottom here. This is too much for me to read. You've got this really great grabbing number. Just give me a couple words and tell me what's going on. I actually tried to do this already here, right? So here, like before pandemic, during pandemic, right? And actually, I don't even think we need this because it's work from home and it's clear up here, right? So now it's really clear to see just exactly what you're trying to get me to see. And again, this scenario, and again, the pictures are kind of like, well, whatever, right? Like these are my pictures that I've added, right? But these pictures are just another example of how you might be able to do that. All right, one more example. We're going to move to hiring. All right, so actually, you are going to close us out.
Thank you, Yoni. So last summer, I reached out to Eddie, who's an old friend of mine who was recently, he was an incoming freshman at Stern. And he was very lost and was very confused with NYU and their system. So I gave him a call and I gave him some insight on what to expect and how to navigate Albert. And I helped him decide what classes and professors he should take. So Eddie's a great example how NYU fails to properly inform their incoming students. So I want you to do what I did and reach out to incoming freshmen and try to give them as much advice and much help and guidance as you can. So thank you, Group 1, for being engaged and participating in this. And we want to open it up for questions.
All right, so I'm going to do hiring's part a little bit just to give you an idea. Okay, so Noah started us off today in this presentation showing that moment where we all, that moment of being accepted, where you have that feeling of like being wanted and getting so excited about getting to go to your dream school. You all remember that moment? It was a good moment. Some of you remember this in the presentation, and some of you might even remember it from when you got into NYU not that long ago. But then I want you to meet a student that I know personally named Eddie, right? It's his first week actually in school. He has no idea what's going on. He's super confused. And that moment between being really excited and elated because NYU has accepted you and now being at this point where you really don't know what's going on, it is a very, very big disconnect. And so I took it upon myself to have a number of conversations with Eddie about, classes, professors, a bunch of other things. And I gave him as much advice as possible. And again, picture this actually being a better slide. I just made this up on the fly. But again, it could even have some information that is funny, right? It makes people laugh a little bit, like you can make fun of me or make fun of other things that you all know that I don't know anything about in terms of just like Stern culture or whatever, right? I mean, and again, like he could throw a bunch of that stuff up on the slide and it would just give Hiram a chance to think, like he could laugh at himself a little bit. And I think that would be great. So, all right, I think that's actually all I was trying to get at here. And again, I just wanted to go through the recording a little bit so that I didn't have any issues with like sharing my screen. Now that you're done with this, come on, I'm back to class and I can't wait to continue talking.